What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, as you guys know, I sold my Toyota Supra. However, there is still a Supra in the family. This is Lauren's dad's Supra. So there actually still is one kind of way behind the scenes. I'm about 700 miles away from my own house. So it's not like this is gonna be crazy on the channel or anything. But I figured I would use today as a good opportunity to kind of give you a little bit of like a recap or something, some final thoughts now that my Supra has been gone for quite some time. I'm going to talk about, do I regret selling it? Do I miss it? Things like that. A little review of his car, and then kind of just drive it around and see what it's like. But with that said, he has owned this for a few months, bought it at the beginning of the year, bought it at a really good time, right when the market was still low. As you guys know, I sold my car for more than I originally paid, and I did really well owning it. He lucked out on this, buying it when the market was low. Now it's worth obviously what it was brand new, but it's the exact same spec as mine. 2020 premium. It's got the driver's assistant package, and obviously it's finished off in white, just like my own car. And he does have 2 mods on it already. The first one, which of course is a must, the previous owner already did the wind deflectors, which is a must for the car. And then a few months ago, I used the Beamer Code app to turn on and off the engine start stop feature so it has memory, because that was one of his complaints. So I fixed that for him. So we got 2 little mods on it technically. Maybe we will do some more modifications, because I did take him for a spin in my GTR, and the first thing he said was, how do we tune the Supra and make it a little quicker? So possibly over some time we might see this car on the channel again and modify it a little bit. But with that said, let's hop in his Supra and drive it around and talk about it. All right guys, so we are setting off now in the Toyota Supra. I haven't been in one in quite some time, obviously, since I sold my car. So kind of crazy to be back in one now. Oh man, it's been a while. So cruise control works obviously the exact same. It's the same car. Definitely weird being in a bone stock version again, because my car, if you guys are new to the channel, was making 450 wheel horsepower and 560 wheel torque with all the modifications. I had a full exhaust intake, the full tuning and everything like that. So mine was a nice step up from a bone stock car. So he racks up a lot of miles on this car. He does a lot of highway cruising and then some back road driving on some country roads. Currently getting 34 miles per gallon. So he gets way better gas mileage than I did. I was getting around 27 in mine, and that was of course flooring it a little bit more. But needless to say, you know, it's cool that he's obviously got a sweet car and has let me drive it for the day. So with that said, do I miss my Toyota Supra? Do I regret selling it or anything like that? Because I'm sure from posts I've made about saying, you know, it's selling soon to obviously now being sold, people are going to be asking that question. Honestly, I don't regret it one bit. I sold it for really good reasons. My reasons were, I've owned it for 2 years. As far as my business, being a content creator, there's not really anything left for me to film in my car to make me any more money. So as a business, why have $58,000 tied into a product that isn't making me any sort of money anymore? Doesn't really make much sense. You take that with the fact that the market went up so high on these cars to where I sold it for more than I paid. I mean, how many times can you buy a sports car and then make your money back on it when you sell it? That's pretty rare to do, especially for something that is in the affordable price bracket. You know, this is not a brand new Ferrari special edition car that's going to appreciate. And when I bought mine, like I said, it decreased in value by like $10,000 or $15,000 in such a short amount of time after I bought it, to where it was nice that once the market picked back up, it was just really good timing. So it's cool that the market did what it did. Obviously, it's a crazy used market right now, and with the new Z coming out from Nissan, which I'm going to be buying one of them, you know, it's a great time to unload one car and get into the next car. So let's go ahead and put it into manual and sport mode. I'm not going to rip on it too much, because obviously I want to treat this with extra care, being not my car. Put it into sport traction for some fun. Man, you can hear a little pop on the back. It's nowhere near as loud as my car was, but man. Up to some speed so quickly. Even stock, that was up to 78 miles an hour. They have some higher speed limits here, which is pretty cool. But in this car, again, I do love how refined it is. But anyways, we'll go back into the normal modes. So like I was saying, with the new Z coming out now, again, great timing. You know, that car's gonna have a manual transmission, and one of the biggest reasons why I sold my car is because I was kind of getting bored with the automatic. I was ready for a manual again. It just made a lot of sense. So do I regret it? Not one bit. It just worked out so well. I'm really happy that I owned it. I think it was a fun car to own for sure. Do I miss it? This is gonna upset some of you guys. Not at all. I really don't miss it at all. I miss the fact of having 2 cars, more than I miss the actual car. Not to say that this isn't a really good car to own. Obviously it worked for me very well in the time that I owned it, so I don't regret buying it. But missing it, I don't know. One thing I noticed with cars, whenever I've sold a car, I always sell it for a really, really good reason. I've never had to sell a car for, you know, a reason that wasn't something positive. So I sold it, like I said, the market was hot, made my money out of it. New car's coming that I can replace it with that's going to be more fun for me. So how can you be sad about that? So I don't really miss it, and obviously with the GTR alongside it, the GTR was always a better car. You know, I love the GTR. It's got such a wow factor. The power, the way that car is, it is such an experience to drive. The Supra can be a Toyota Camry. Like right now, I'm just cruising. I'm gonna go meet Lauren for lunch, and honestly, it's just a normal, comfortable cruising car. It's like a Toyota Camry. Of course, you put this in sport mode, and it turns into a really good performance car. And when you add all the mods like I had, it turns into a very nice performance car. But it's still no GTR. So for me, I'm a little spoiled with that's what I was always comparing my Supra to, a six-figure supercar. So it's not really fair to the Supra that was what I was comparing it to. But since that was my other car, that's what I compared it to. That's the only option I really had to do. So I don't really miss it in that sense. I just miss having a second car, but it's not really the worst thing since, of course, I have other people's cars at my house that I can drive, and I obviously have my motorcycle. Am I excited about the new Z? Heck yes, I cannot wait to get the new Z, especially having a manual transmission. Now, one thing about the new Z, I guarantee you it will not be as nice as this car on the inside. The BMW intervention that is in the Supra is a huge positive. It really makes this car just feel so much more solid than your typical car is going to feel. Along with that, I know that the new Z might not handle as well as this. I think the Supra is one of the best handling cars I have ever driven. It blows my mind how good this thing steers and how well it takes turns. I don't know if the Z is going to match this. I hope it does because, I mean, I love taking the turns. I love mountain driving. So we're gonna have to see on that. That's a big unknown. Power-wise, again, I don't think it's gonna be as good as this car, the B58. And wow, that's a loud road. The B58 is a crazy motor. A lot of people compare it with the 2JZ and things like that, of course. This is a solid, rock solid motor, been proven reliable, and makes a ton of horsepower. You can make 700 horsepower with just the bigger turbo and better fueling. The new Z engine, it'll be decent. It won't be quite as powerful, and I don't think it'll be quite as robust. But with that said, this stick shift is such a big selling feature for me, and it's gonna give it that raw, fun to drive aspects. I already have a fast car, you know, the GTR, faster than I need it to be, so I don't really need the new Z to be as fast as the Supra. And once I get it, of course, we're gonna see, you know, how it compares. Of course, I have 2 years experience with one of these, and it'll be a fun time to see. With that said, I think the Supra's exterior looks a lot better. I love the exaggerated lines. It's just a really sharp looking car. The new Z, still, I'm not quite sold on the exterior design. I don't really care because it's still gonna be fun to drive. I think the interior looks a little bit better on the new Z, and I think it's cool that you get all the sporty colors. You can have a blue interior, a red interior. The Supra, they kinda, I wish they did a little bit more and offered more fun interiors, because this is pretty much all you get, just black. So I think both cars are gonna have their pros and their cons, and since I've already had this car for 2 years, it's a fun time to switch it up, try the next car and see what it's gonna be all about. And with that said, I am on 2 Nissan dealers' lists now to order the new car. They don't really have any information on it yet, so I don't really have any updates. I think January is when I can actually place a deposit. Once January comes, then we will see what I can really do for the car. But as of now, I don't really have any updates on it because the dealers don't even know much about it.
2 hours later.
So as far as the Z goes, just gotta give it some time to get more information on it. And of course, as updates happen, I will update you guys on that. In the meantime, I've been just enjoying driving the GTR as my only car. In the last 12 months, I actually only put 3,500 miles on it. I just did my oil change for it, and I do that every single year or every 5,000 miles, and I'd only gone 3,500 miles. So I really did use the Supra a lot, especially in the last 12 months, to rack up miles. Driving to the airport and back every single month, I was using the Supra pretty much because it's a really good, comfortable car. And then when we ever went down to do car reviews or anything like that, I used the Supra to rack up a lot of miles. So I'm gonna enjoy driving the GTR, just having fun with it, and we're just gonna wait for the Z. As far as driving this car now, does it bring back memories? Of course it does. It feels very familiar being back in a Supra. Definitely a cool car to be in. crazy though, I will say, how much quieter and different this car feels than my own car. When you take this car and you do the full bolt-ons, the exhaust, you tune it, I mean, it is a completely different car. The handling with my lowering springs, the wider wheels, all the parts, the power, completely different than what I'm experiencing in this bone stock car. It's still a really nice car, super smooth to be on the highway with, but I mean, there's such a difference from this car and my car. When you put it in manual and sport mode, it is so much quieter. Wow, I never thought the pops were that quiet. That's crazy how used to I am the straight pipe Supra. All right, so heading back now to their house. Definitely a good time being back in a Supra. Car really is, even the stock form, such a solid performance car, and if you want to make it just crazier, adding some mods, so hopefully I might be able to convince him to modify this a little bit with my help. I think we can do some fun things to it. It might not get, you know, straight pipe and tuning like my car had to it, but I think regardless, I think we'll be able to play with the car just a little bit. Alright guys, we have made it back to their house. His car is returned safe and sound, which is of course going to keep me on the good list. But there you go. So my Supra, well, yes, it is sold and gone. There still is a Supra in the family, which is pretty cool. At least it's kind of not going to be a forgotten car for me. I'm going to see it every time I visit. So it's still a car that's with me, you know, even though mine's gone. So with all that said, the Supra, definitely a fun car. It was cool driving in this one. Just kind of get my bearings back with what my old car used to be. Hopefully we can play with this a little bit more and modify it a little bit. But as far as my kind of final ending review, now that my car has been gone for a little bit, those are my thoughts. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content to come. The Supra, not so much anymore, but the new Z around the corner early next year. I'm excited for that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you all next video.